Good morning, everyone. My name is Hayley Andrews, and you are watching At Home with Hayley. Before we get started, guys, I can see that some of you are coming through. If you could just let me know that you can hear me okay, and pop in the chat box. Can everyone hear me okay? Brilliant, that's great. Awesome. So good morning, guys. Happy Friday. Thank you for listening again this Friday. It's lovely to see you all coming through. I have missed you the last couple of weeks. Firstly, I would like to apologise for the fact that I have had to cancel At Home with Hayley the last couple of weeks, as I've had a few personal issues and I've had to be with my family. So just due to illness and taking care of my family, guys, unfortunately, I haven't been available. I'll also apologise for those of you that I had to cancel mentorships and everything else in my diary as well. So it wasn't just At Home with Hayley, it was pretty much everything. It's all very well and good now. Everything is sorted and we're happy that the nightmare is over. But guys, I apologize, I have missed you. We are back. We don't have a guest this morning, so I haven't lined up a guest for this morning. I'm on this morning to give you an update and answer any questions that you may have. So while we're going through the update, please feel free to just pop your questions in the chat box and I'll address them after we've finished the update. I will also be giving you some updates as well, so if you can stick around to listen to that, that would be awesome. But guys, and girls, I've been told off for saying that. I'm going to jump straight on to our update, and I look forward to answering your questions at the end of that. So, a very in-depth update, because of course I haven't spoken to you guys for quite some time now. So firstly, I'm going to start off with Boris Johnson. So Boris has extended his government Green Homes Grant scheme. So we spoke about this, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The Green Homes Grant scheme for a further 12 months now, after complaints in recent weeks that the lack of Trustmark qualified builders meant completing projects by the original deadline of March next year would be very difficult and almost impossible. In some areas of the UK, landlords seeking Trustmark registered builders have faced long waits to start work, as qualified tradespeople have become booked up really far in advance. Instead, the Prime Minister has said today that homeowners and landlords will have until March 2022 to get their projects completed through the Green Homes Grant Voucher Scheme, which was originally announced back in September this year. Although landlords now have more time to get the builders in, original budget has not been extended, so that's still remaining at 1.5 billion with a cap of 600,000 properties. So the scheme funds up to 2/3 of the cost of property improvements with a cap of £5,000 per property. The work covered by the scheme includes installation of walls, floors and roofs, upgrading single window glazing to triple glazing, installing low carbon heating systems such as heat pumps, etc. So it's definitely worth checking it out. So any of you that have property and there are landlords, it is worth you actually looking into this scheme, speaking with your lettings agencies and management companies to see if they can handle the applications for you, outsourcing as much of it as you possibly can. But of course, getting your property and the energy performance of your property upgraded at a much lower cost while taking advantage of those grants. It's something that we are doing, and it's something that anybody that owns property should be looking into to improve overall. So on to evictions then. So that's enough about the Green Homes Grants, but definitely look into that. So on to evictions for tenants in substantial rent arrears. Tenants now in substantial rent arrears, existing evictions allowed if the tenant is more than 9 months behind in rent. The government has laid its updated lockdown regulations in front of Parliament to clarify when landlords with existing possession orders can move to eviction, revealing that one of the exemptions will be, which is good news, substantial rent arrears, now to be classed as those over 9 months. This only relates to England, so it doesn't cover Scotland, Wales or Ireland, but it does enable bailiffs to attend properties to execute a warrant of possession for those who have built up substantial rent arrears. This is still all very confusing, guys, and even knowing the industry and, and eviction process and all things like that, it's still very confusing for me. And so I'm yet to look into this in detail. While this is a step forward and a very small light at the end of the tunnel, it's still not going to help speed things up, in my opinion. Because to move to bailiffs, we need possession orders for orders first, and then availability to move forward. And there is a huge backlog. So really what the government needs to do, instead of delaying or prolonging the issue, which I believe this is what they are doing, they should be putting some sort of funding package together to help tenants pay off their rent arrears and keep their homes, so that landlords don't have to go for possession and evict the tenants. Unfortunately, that is not what's happening. Something does need to be done. No landlord wants to evict a tenant. I can tell you that because I've gone through the process myself. It is not a nice process, and it's not a position we as landlords want to be in. But simply, landlords are not banks or welfare or the welfare state. We landlords invest for a calculated risk and a return. In fact, banks actually get their money back, but landlords, it seems, are looking to be expected to follow these losses, which is not ethical. It's terrible that landlords have been expected to cover the rent for someone who has already been failing to pay long before the pandemic. And I think this is the argument that most landlords are putting forward to government and to various different campaigns to try and get something done here. In my opinion, a financial package needs to be put into place to pay off rent arrears, and that, in my opinion, is the only solution. That way, then, tenants do not have to be evicted. There's a payment plan in place. Landlords will be getting the money paid back to them, albeit on, in dribs and drabs, but at an affordable pace, and it's still regaining any lost revenue during the periods that we haven't been able to evict tenants and tenants have not been paying. Anyway, moving on, hopefully something like that comes into place. And luckily, and for many people, this, even on a large scale with a large portfolio like myself, it's not something that we are facing huge amounts of backlogs on. So overall, it's not a massive issue, but in general, across the UK, there are a lot of landlords that are affected. And, let's face it, at the end of the day, a majority of people that get into property are looking to replace their income, or that is their income. And so because of that, they are personally being affected, which I've heard many stories about, which is just, like I said, not ethical. Not when there's a contract in place. Anyway, moving on. So investors, and this is to you guys, have you thought about commercial property? Now, I know I've spoken about this, many times. I've been on about this for months, and at least the last 2 years, I've personally focused on this space, adopting various different strategies. In my opinion, this is definitely the space to be, and where the current opportunities are, or definitely what I'm seeing anyway. So for a start, there could be some real bargains available on the high street. Retailers take a hit with COVID, and the city centre offices are similar. But this could be the reverse for offices in small towns and in city suburbs with potential for relocation. Industrial units and warehouses have been a real growth area, with many locations in high demand for trades and home delivery services. With commercial property, an investment can start as low as the cost of a two-bed terraced house up to multi-million-pound projects. This is plenty of choice for new starters out there. And so don't think that if you are new getting into this, this is something that you can't do. We have to approach it differently, and your mentor can speak to you about that. And we have to look at funding that's available, but you can actually get in at low capital amounts. Commercial is kind of the reverse investment to residential. With residential homes, it's at its highest resale value when it's with vacant possession. On the other hand, with a commercial property, it's more valuable when it has a good tenant in place. So that being said, buying vacant commercial properties can offer some real bargain opportunities. And depending on the location, the redevelopment opportunity or repurposing, as they call it now, if you want to get down with the kids. I think I'm a little bit old for that, but anyway, repurposing. It can be a very attractive space, and especially now with new planning reform, new permitted development rights. In other words, where planning restrictions are lifted, it's because of this type of investment will be becoming more and more popular. It, of course, has its pros and cons, and in some ways, investing in commercial property can bring more risk. Void periods tend to be longer than residential. It can take longer to find a good commercial tenant. It can take longer to offload a commercial property because there's less, you're limited to the people that are actually looking for this type of investment. And depending on the size or what it is as well, of course, it may sit on the market for 12 months plus. So you just have to take that into consideration. But just the tenancies alone, so on a residential, you're looking at 6 to 12 months on average for a tenancy agreement. Commercial leases are often 5, 10, 15, or even 20 years in length. And of course, a lot of investors are repurposing now to residential or to serviced accommodation. So it's definitely something worth looking into, something to speak to your sourcing agents about, to speak to your commercial lettings agencies and your commercial estate agents as well. It's definitely worth having that conversation and looking into some potential options. Like I said, have personally been focusing in this space, and I've seen great opportunity and do on a daily basis. And that's not to say that all of them will work. You still have to do your due diligence. And you still have to look at who your target audience is and make sure there's demand for whatever service you're putting back to the market. But the research, albeit in a different light, is necessary, and it is something that I urge you to do if you are looking at this space. Lending is slightly different as well. So speaking to your broker about what products may be available to you is something that you would need to do to move forward. Of course, looking at the tenancies that are in place as well is something that you would have to highlight with your solicitor and go through that also. While we're on lending, actually, so I've got an email printed out here. So on lending, a little lending update for you. This is purely for our internationals, so I apologize for the UK people that are online. But I had an email come through, and I'll read it out. So this is an email that came through from one of my Power Team members, and this says a lot, really. I'm just literally going to read it out to you. So the email stated, the recent boom in the property market has been driven by expats and foreign national buyers. This means there has never been a better time to send us your cases from overseas clients. Cha-ching. It didn't say cha-ching in the email, by the way. I just added that in. So with stamp duty deadline looming and a wealth of differing borrowing types seeking to take advantage of this, brokers need to know how to place the case, and most importantly, who to place it with to get it over the line for March 31st, 2021. We have a new lender on panel who specialises in first-time buyers, first-time landlords, expats, and foreign national buyers. They may be ideal to help your clients maximise on the current market opportunities. They are offering no stress testing, 5-year fixed terms with no early redemption fees in the final 2 years, 4.99% with a 1% deferred interest, available for first-time buyers, first-time landlords, and up to 70% loan to value. This will and can fund HMO properties are considered, and up to 16 bedroom units as well. There's no minimum income required, and offshore companies and trusts are also considered. So quite flexible terms there, guys. I haven't looked into this. I haven't, spoken to the lender myself. This has come through one of my power team. It is something that I'm going to do. So I'm going to reach out to them and look into their criteria, make sure that I understand exactly what they are asking for from you. But it does seem to be much more flexible terms. And this is great. This is actually, a real positive that they are reaching out to us. So that is actually the lender, if you want to take a note of this, because like I said, I don't take any referrals or anything like that. So if you wanted to reach out personally yourself, feel free to do that. The lender is the Enterprise Finance team, and their website is www.enterprisefinance.co.uk. So have a look into that yourself. I will look further into that as well, because of course this helps our mentees and you guys looking to get into, you guys abroad looking to get into UK property. So it's something that I will look into myself and then address on one of the upcoming At Home with Hayley. So moving on from there then, house prices and rental demand. The housing market remains very busy, and despite the second national lockdown, the sense is that this will persist over the coming months and into the new year. However, there is understandably more caution about activity looking beyond the first quarter of 2021. Aside from the withdrawal of government incentives, the market may also find the more challenging employment picture a significant obstacle, something we've spoken about again. The demand is very high, guys, but if affordability isn't there, naturally it will have a negative impact. So even with the interest rates set to remain close to zero for some time to come as well. That being said, medium-term expectations for house prices and private rent have barely been dented by COVID, according to the latest surveys. Indeed, the projections still point to increases likely to exceed wage growth, highlighting the ongoing issue around affordability. All I know and all I pay attention to, and there's lots of media, lots of gurus that say different things out there, and we're all entitled to our own opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, I'm saying based off my experience, based off how my portfolio performs, based off how my business is running, I can actually go off, the behavior of people, agents, lettings agency, estate agents, vendors, how often my phone rings. That is what I base my information off, really. So I look into surveys, I look into everything else, I relay that information back to you, I look into different articles, I listen to the news, I take it with a pinch of salt and back it up with statistics. But I watch the behavior of people rather than listening to what they're saying. So that being said then, guys, estate agents have started calling me again. I know I said a few months ago, my phone has been very quiet. And the reason behind that is because I'm not needed at this moment in time or at that moment in time. But estate agents have started calling me again. Properties have started to come back to the market because valuers are down valuing and vendors will not drop purchase price. And the purchaser doesn't have the additional funds to make up the purchase price or is not willing to pay more than the property is worth, which, who would? We are still being gazumped. Although they are still calling, they've started calling me again. I've seen properties come back to the market. I've seen offers that I made a while ago. Estate agents now reaching back out to ask if that offer still stands. So we're seeing more and more communication that's getting more and more, especially over the last week. So the last week my phone has been crazy, and the viewings that I've been doing has been crazy, and I've been very upfront and open before I've done any viewings about what my position is and how I would move forward, the conditions of any offer, etc., etc., etc. So rather than waste my time, I've actually been very open and honest up front with the estate agents and vendors, and they're still booking viewings in for me, guys. So I think we're seeing a bit of a shift here. I most certainly am in the areas that I'm investing in. Like I said, we are still being gazumped, so before we're getting to exchange of contracts, the vendors are pulling out or someone's making a higher offer, and I've seen that quite a lot. And it's happened to me personally as well. And so it shows that demand is there and properties are selling quickly, but lending is taking its time and it's very restrictive and slowing the whole process down or killing the deals altogether. I personally, so just me, personally have lost or written off. I never see it as a lot. I see it as a cost of business. But I've written off around £8,000 in fees just this year for sales that have fallen through. And that's just on a normal residential, normal residential properties, 3 and 4 bedroom houses. I've seen monitoring a few areas and looking overall at the averages that, yes, the demand is still very high and people are out there buying, but because of the increase in prices, many homeowners have put their properties up for sale because the sale price and high demand is something they don't want to miss out on. Unfortunately, everyone is doing this, and as a result, we're starting to see that the supply is meeting the demand. Sellers and agents are becoming more and more anxious that they are getting closer and closer to the Christmas period and the stamp duty, and with any properties being downvalued, agents are more inclined now to talk to the vendors and talk them into accepting lower offers. 2 to 3 months ago, the estate agents would laugh at you if you made any offers below asking price, more than £2,000 to £5,000, I would say. And now I'm seeing more and more lower offers being accepted and agents more realistic with vendors. What we're seeing is actually people are offering asking price. And I've seen this in some real affluent areas. People are actually paying what their properties are being advertised or putting that offer forward. The offer is being accepted because the vendor is getting, what they want. So they're getting what they're asking for the property. But as the sale of that or the purchase process is going through, and while the searches are being done and lenders and valuers are going out, the valuers are not valuing the property at the asking price, so the offer price. And they are downvaluing, on average, what I've seen, at least 10%. And in some instances have been higher. Now, that may be different area to area, and I'm just talking from a personal perspective. But just as an example for you, there was a property that was advertised for £400,000. I offered £370,000. Eventually, and that's not huge below market value offer. This is still higher than normally I would offer. But because we are in this market, there's a lot of demand and houses are selling quickly. Obviously, you have to adapt and change with that market. So I eventually that offer was accepted after another sale had fell through, that she'd accepted in a higher offer and then came back to me at £370,000. I had that offer accepted, but then the mortgage valuer has only valued the property at £355,000. It's in the property, in all honesty, is in very poor condition, and so it's not even fair. So with a few issues with asbestos and a few concerns around that, it's not something as an experienced investor I would be worried about, but it has been highlighted on the valuation and on the report, and it does need a full renovation. But it's in an excellent location. It is a huge plot with potential to double the size of the property and make it a beautiful family home. It's in a sought after area, huge front and back garden. It's worth 370, and this is me saying, and I'm a really hard negotiator, but it's worth 370 of anybody's money. But because the lenders are nervous about the second quarter of next year and the negative impact on the property values, they are downvaluing. And if you speak to any investor out there, I think you will find that this is actually, a common issue. So although the house prices are going through, purchasers are still moving forward, they're having to pay the top up or pull out of the deal. So if you actually look at land registry sold prices, and then if you track when that property was on the market, how much it was on the market for, and then have a look at land registry sold prices, we're already starting to see that the difference between what a property was being marketed for, what someone may have offered, and then what it actually ended up going for is very different. And so I think you need to pay attention to that as well as a professional investor. But at the end of the day, this is the market that we're playing in. So don't let all of the sold on Rightmove, Zoopla, and all of the other different online marketing agents on there fool you. Okay, and so there is a lot of offers that are being accepted, and people are offering, asking price. So we're in competition with people that are buying their home here, so they purchase with their heart and not their head. So they're a different type of animal altogether that we are in competition with. So they are the ones that are pushing up the sale prices. But unfortunately, the properties aren't being valued at what they're prepared to pay, or their affordability isn't stacking up. So we are seeing now a lot of properties coming back to the market. I kind of love it. So, the sellers refused to drop the price to 355, which is what it's been valued at. So either I make up the difference. So this is just in one example, guys, but either I make up the difference or I take the risk of the property myself and move forward, or it goes back to the market. It's a game of cat and mouse, and it's kind of the game that I got into property to play. I absolutely love the art of negotiation. It's something that I strive in. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and I do very well. So I'm playing the game, and you should be playing the game as well. If it's meant to be in your portfolio, it will be, and never ever fear about walking away. House prices, guys, will fall, and so that I do think that's going to be a price correction, and I think we will start seeing the supply and the demand even out and sales slowing down. It will then turn its head slightly, and not dramatically, but we will have a buyer's market again, in my opinion. Just the very fact that agents have started contacting me again, my phone started ringing, properties are coming back to the market, offers I made 3-4 months ago and now coming back to me and saying, are you still interested? The sale fell through, etc., etc., etc. And so just watching the behavior of other people is telling me that the tides are turning. I do think that we will start seeing a negative or a drop, and start seeing the decline up till the end of the year. There will be a little race for quite a few people that are looking to take advantage of the stamp duty holiday. So I don't think it's going to be a dramatic drop. Seasonally, we would normally see demand die off around this time of the year as well. So I think that that's going to be in line. But where I will think we will start seeing more of a decline is when we start hitting January, and the closer we get to the second quarter of next year, we would have already seen that decline. That being said, you know, guys, we are investors. Like I said, I've been making offers. I'm still buying. You know, I'm buying different types of properties and different types of investments, but I'm still very much in the market. We are investors, so we invest if the numbers stack up and we have calculated our risk and we understand what we are buying and what for, then buy. You know, property is a long-term game. It's a marathon, not a race. If you are a property investor and you want to be a property investor, you should still be analysing the deals right now. It's not to say hold off. It's to say just manage your risk and make sure that lending is available for you, if that's how you're moving forward. Just to finish off, and I apologise if I'm being a bit soppy here, not my style, but I do want to say this. So this year's been hard for everyone, and I don't mean from a financial point of view. In fact, some of us have really strived this year financially and in business, but there's a lot of people that have been hit as well. But I mean from an emotional point of view. You know, the world we know and the world we have been forced to live in the past year, to not have the freedom to move where we want, being dictated to be isolated from our friends and family, our classes and hobbies on hold until we're told otherwise. It's not been a great time, and there's many people that have suffered out there, and there's a lot of people that are suffering with depression and anxiety issues, and I get it. You know, I've been there as well. But guys, you know, it's also, on the other hand, been a blessing as well. And I'm all about looking at the positive things in life. So on the other hand, it has been a blessing too, to have that time to think, confirm, realign, work on and in our relationships, cut out old and welcome the new, learn new skills. I mean, the amount of you that have reached out to me and said, you know, can you recommend a book for me to recommend a book for me to read, or are there any classes that you would you know, recommend for me to go on to improve this, that and the other? And it's just brilliant that you've been using this time to improve yourself overall, and I have as well. You know, so I think hats off to you. You know, to learn new skills, practice and find new hobbies, find new circles and new contacts, venture into new businesses and new relationships in just a whole different light. And so that is something that we, you know, we truly have to be thankful for. We have been given the gift of time. So use the time to reach out to your network, help and support each other. Another thing that I'm massively overwhelmed by with you guys in the network that we have at Your Freedom Empire, with all of my mentees, trainees, and you know, and our team overall, is just how much support and help you have given to each other, and I think it's beautiful. And I commend each and every one of you for it. So keep that up. You know, our network is our net worth after all, and we want to surround ourselves with good, positive people. And remember, guys, when your intentions are pure, you don't lose ever. And I genuinely believe this. My nanny used to say that, and she used to say a lot of things, but she also said, never trust a man that can dance. Luckily for me, Paul can't dance he's probably the worst dad dancer you can ever see on a dance floor. So we're all good there. And I could vouch for that one. But when your intentions are pure, guys, you never lose. People, things, deals, money, it doesn't matter. No act of kindness is ever wasted. What's meant to be will always be. So take the pressure off yourself and just be you. Surround yourself with positive people that lift you, inspire you, challenge you, and energize you. And the right things and the right doors will open. And the right people will come into your life, opportunities come to you. I can vouch for that, and I can promise you that. So that is my update. Sorry for being soppy. I am a female after all. I am a very emotional female at times, although many of you don't believe. But guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you, and you know, especially through the last 3 weeks, 3 weeks actually, yeah, last few weeks now, of, you know, me receiving your support and you guys understanding why I'm cancelling events and things like that. So thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it, and keep sticking together. So I'm actually going to pop my camera on now, and I'm going to have a look to see if we do have any questions in the chat box. So if you do have any questions, guys, please feel free to pop them in there. I do have some updates for you. I'm going to check the chat box first. So Helen, you're asking me to write something in the chat box. Can you just confirm what that is for me, please? And I'll get that written in for you. I have got loads and loads of stuff in here. Most of you just wishing me well. Thank you ever so much. Give me a few minutes. I am actually supposed to wear glasses, but I can never find them and always forget to put them on. So good morning from Stockholm, Richard. Hi. Morning. Okay, brilliant. So we don't actually have any questions. Wendy Snedden is saying that, so Wendy's one of our mentors, she's saying that estate agents, she's based up in Scotland as well. She's saying that estate agents have started ringing her as well. And we can tell the tides are turning, guys, when we start seeing the people's behaviour change. And that's very much the case. And I would be surprised if it was any different anywhere else. I'm starting to see my phone ringing again, and it's been very quiet. You know, estate agents haven't needed us, so they haven't been reaching out, whereas now they are coming back to us because they know that we will purchase, and they understand what we're purchasing for, and we are becoming their, you know, they are limited to the people that are putting offers forward now. So definitely keep an eye on things as they are moving through to you know, the end of November, December, and I do think, and I'd be highly surprised, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think we're going to start seeing different statistics that are out there, because a lot of the statistics that are put out there actually calculate how many offers have been made, and going through to actually completion is quite difficult to look at that. So we can have offers that are made, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have come to fruition. So we may have, you know, in an area 600 property listings, and you know, 50% of those have offers on them, or even higher than that we are seeing in some areas, but it doesn't mean that all you know, all 50% of those properties that have received offers will actually go through to change hands. So it is something that you need to look into. Some areas are obviously still thriving. Some areas have now started to slow down. It is very much, you will have micro areas throughout the whole of the UK, so you do need to check what's going on in your area, but it's definitely worth now picking up the phone, readdressing any offers that you made 3 months ago, and I think you will find that that will be a very different conversation now. So definitely look into that. Tracy, we've got one here. Can you type in the www address of the new lender? Yes, sure, I can. Let me just get it. Got it here somewhere. No, it is www. I can't see if I've it's far too small in the chat box, but I think it's that one. Okay, and so you'll have to tell me if it doesn't work. If not, just email me, and then I'll forward the link on to you. So that's the website. The lender is the Enterprise Finance team. And so that's the company that actually sent this email through to one of my power teams. So again, they are reaching out to us and seeing, of course, that this is definitely a space that they need to cover, a product. If they can offer a product in this arena, I do think that this would be through your own personal name. So make sure that you speak to your accountant as well before you move forward with that. But the potential of it being through a limited company as well is quite high. I'm yet to look into that. I will address it on one of At Home with Hayley review, guys. I always like to just check everybody out, but they are, they are a lender. There are products available, and it's worth looking into. So we don't have any questions coming through. I hope that means that that you guys were absolutely stunned by my market update. So I am actually going to just quickly jump into, feel free to write questions in the chat box while I'm going through these updates, and I'll address them at the end. So why the event then? So guys, we actually, so this was one event I couldn't cancel. So just because there were so many people that were on there, and it's something that we'd been planning for quite some time. We actually held last weekend our first ever Your Freedom Empire Property Success Convention, and it was a huge success. We had excellent feedback from everyone that attended, and it was just so positive, and it really lifted me. And so it really lifted me to be in the company of you guys, to have you, lift me as well. And I lift you. And we had Pip Stellick, and we had all of our mentors on, and we had different slots talking about finance, talking about all different types of things. Guys, it was a huge success. We do actually have 2 other events that are this year as well. And the next event is on the 28th of November. Some of you, as I can see on the call, are already booked onto these events. So, excuse me. So, of course, we will see you there. But for those of you that perhaps haven't looked into this, or don't know who Your Freedom Empire are, pop onto our website. It's www.yourfreedomempire.co.uk, just to see what we're all about and what services we offer. But this event is very much for everyone. So it doesn't matter if you are brand new to property, if you're just starting out, if you're not sure whether it's something that you want to move into and you want a bit of extra information, if you have gone through mentorships with different training organizations, and you've hit a brick wall, if you've come through mentorships with us but you've lost momentum, or anybody else, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be part of Your Freedom Empire to attend, but you do have to be interested in property. We are going to be talking about property throughout the 2 days. It is a jam-packed full 2 days with lots and lots of different guests that come in and speak to you about different topics and subjects. And it is free content that is out there for you as well. For you guys, for the listeners. So if you did want to attend, guys, you can pop to yourfreedomempire.co.uk/property success convention. You can find this through our website as well. And for those of you that listen in on this call and then watch the replay on YouTube, which we get quite a large audience on YouTube, you can actually attend the event for free. So if it's yourself or you know anyone else that may be interested in attending this event, and just surrounding yourself with positive people, then the access code there is PSC111. If you type that in, that will zero the event down to 0. I say that every time. And you'll be able to attend for free. But we'd love to see you there. Pass this around, guys, you won't be disappointed. It was a huge success the first time round, and we're looking at running these events on a regular basis into the new year as well. So our platform, I'm really excited to say, actually, although it feels like we've been waiting forever, there has been quite a few issues with this, and many more than I anticipated. But I had a meeting yesterday. I have another meeting today, and we are seeing the final version before we release it live. So fingers crossed, if it all goes well and I'm not as critical as I always am, which probably not going to be the case, but I'm trying to I'm trying to get this out there, but I am reviewing this today with our team, and if they have done what they said they were going to do yesterday, then this is ready to go, guys, and I'm so excited about it, and it's well overdue. So get yourself registered on www.premierinvestmentvault.co.uk, and get yourself inside that vault and ready for a revolutionary idea and an unbelievable platform moving forward that will just solve so many problems. And so I'm so happy to actually announce that this week. And then, guys, we are still running these calls. There are limited spaces available, just due to the fact that although things are very good with my personal situation now and the health of my husband, we are looking at a much more shaved down diary and taking a little bit of a break towards the rest of the year to try and recover. As you can see, I've been hit pretty hard, and so has he. But we are taking that time together to recoup and recover. We are working in the background on everything, but we are still running these calls. So there are limited spaces that are available, but we are still putting those calls out there. I want to make sure that we are there to help you guys and answer your questions. So it's something that I didn't want to cancel out of my diary. And so if you are interested and you have a question, it doesn't matter if you're a mentee, you probably just pick the phone up to me anyway. But it doesn't matter whether you are my mentee or whether you are someone else's mentee, or whether you've never done any training with us or you've come through a different training organization. The call is very much there to help people, and it's our way of giving back during these difficult times, and helping you guys just have someone to bounce an idea off or to ask a question to. And so if you are interested, you can pop an email across to admin@yourfreedomempire.co.uk and just pop in the subject box there, free call. And then, of course, as well, questions. So this, we will just continue now week in, week out. And so I am back. We will have a guest next week as well. And if you do want your questions answered, but you can't watch, so I know that Laura and a few other people have messaged me this week to say that we can't actually join this week, but we will be watching the replay. So for those of you that cannot join live, we will always obviously prioritize live questions first, but we will always get to your questions. So if you want to ask a question, pop an email to admin@yourfreedomempire and pop in webinar questions there, and we will address them during the call. And then it is Friday, and so it is pizza, always on a Friday, regardless of what else is going on in the world. Hayley has to have pizza on a Friday. So I am going to have my pizza and enjoy a nice family movie this evening. And I hope that you guys do as well. And I hope you have an awesome weekend. And thank you again for listening. Again, I apologize for the fact that I have cancelled the last couple of weeks, but we are back now and everything will be back to normal next week. And so, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. I will see you again next week. Goodbye for now.